I'm Myke Shrews.
And I'm Tivis.
And you're listening to
The Munster Cast,
episode 33 with special guest
Daniel Roebuck.
All right. All right, welcome back everybody to the Munster Cast, the podcast where we watch and talk about the Munsters. And if you saw the video, you could see our facial expressions for how loud that intro was to us.
What?
All right, guys, real quick, dirty work before we dive on into everything here, because we have a special treat for you, which Tivis will tell you about in just a second, which we already spoiled anyways. You can find the Munster Cast on all social media platforms via Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all via the Munster Cast. And you can find us to watch our pretty ugly faces via the Munster Cast YouTube channel. And
which is something you may want to do this time, because there's a lot of visual gags going on.
Definitely. So who do we have coming in today to this?
We got Daniel Roebuck, the new grandpa.
Yeah. So Mr. Roebuck decided or graced us with his presence this week and did a little interview for us. So you guys will end up hearing that right after we get done talking here. We do want to let you know there was a lot of technical difficulties this week on my part. So bear with us with any issues there were with me dropping out or my audio. Just a heads up, I was on another location again this past week. So
Myke had to put his editing skills to the task this week.
All right. Well, without further ado, guys, here is us and Mr. Grandpa Daniel Roebuck.
Sam Dracula. We're joined by Daniel Roebuck.
Ooh.
This is a shock to us.
Well, you didn't think you'd get someone as professionally important as myself on your program?
No.
Oh. Well, we have to do a better job here of checking this stuff out. I'm honored to be here and honored to be sitting with the two of you, because you love what I love. And anybody who loves what we love should hang out all the time together. Because why do you want to hang out with people who don't love what you love? You're like, I love the Munsters, and you know, they're like, I like Bonanza. That's good, I guess. I mean, Bonanza's good. I'm making it. I just pulled the thing that was so the opposite of Munsters, but I like Bonanza too. So forget the joke. The simile didn't work out. Here we are.
But how did you first develop your? Because when I would talk to Jeff, he referred to you as the Munsters historian on set. So I'm curious, where did you first develop, your fondness for the Wacky family?
We're talking about kids. I have a brother who's, I don't know, like 19 months older than me. It's Polish twins. I don't even know how my parents looked at him and thought, let's have another one of these. But I did the same thing. My kids are 24 months apart. I don't know how the heck that works out. But John and I were, when he wasn't beating me up, we were watching TV. That was, there was always that, it was like, and intermission. And then he'd stop hitting me, and then we'd watch something. We loved the Munsters. You go that way and I'll go that way. And then we were just.
Oh, that was a real good friend.
I did work with that. So. Anyway, loved it. And very early on developed a really interesting fascination with the universal monsters. Welcome back, Myke. We while you were gone, we were all telling secrets about ourselves. Tivis, amazing. You killed that guy in college. I get it. You have a joy about it. Myke, you have a secret you'd like to share with the rest of us?
I have many secrets I don't like to share with anybody.
Well, that's probably how we keep them a secret. Anyway, while you were somewhere else, we were talking about.
I could hear you guys. I just couldn't say anything.
Oh, geez, sounds like
It wouldn't be our show if there wasn't problems.
Well, regardless, I've loved the Munsters for forever. I was saying how at some point, because I watched those horror movies, we had Dr. Shock in Philadelphia, and I'd watch Universal horror movies. And there was a moment, and you can't say, I remember exactly, because, you'd be lying. But there was a moment when it started becoming obvious that, wait, that guy's Frankenstein's monster. Now he's Dr. Niemann. That guy's Dracula. Wait, now he's Igor. Now he's Frankenstein. You realizing they were actors, right, in makeup, which obviously, if you love the Munsters or Abbott and Costello and Abbott and Costello and Frankenstein, like the next, the progression of your interest would go to, would absolutely positively go to Munster. That would lead you right there. And there's always this talk, the Munsters versus Addams Family. Well, they're both great shows, and they were both filled with, really great actors, but the Munsters was the most like what I also loved. So that's what drew me to there, even if I didn't know. And I think the Addams Family, because the Munsters was like a family like yours, the Addams Family was not like a family like yours. Yeah. People were drawn to the Munsters. I've been writing a book for actors called The Auditionist, The Job, and Other Truths that I've learned in the land of make-believe. And the fact is, everybody of my age wanted Andy Griffith to be their dad, but we all got stuck with Herman Munster as our dad, But our dad was sometimes childish, sometimes dead on, sometimes played like a child more than you did. And we never had, now, Opie, you killed that birdie. You're going to have to take care of those baby birdies. We didn't have that. We had, I want it. That was our
That's awesome.
Yep.
And by the way, you said I was a Munsters historian. Yes, that's gracious of Jeff to say that. Truly, Mr. Zombie is the Munsters historian. Mr. Zombie, if there was a moment where I say, did that? And he'd say, yes, episode 19, about 22 minutes and 14 seconds in. And then I'd be like, oh, yeah, I know that.
Yeah. It's always awesome because, of course, it's no secret to the people of the podcast and everything, but Tivis was not very quaint with Rob Zombie. I've been a big fan of his work, so
I can't say
and his music. I followed them ever since he was in White Zombie, pretty much. And
the music that's interesting, but you didn't like the aesthetic of the movies. Which I find his movies to be visually opera.
I'm just not a horror.
Understood.
I don't consume a lot. Well,
it's not for. By the way, not for everybody. No, I'm very proud of the work we did, like in Halloween too. But my mother would say, "Oh, we're going to go see it." I said, "No, don't go see it. Don't go see it. At some point, I'll get the scenes. I'll send them to you. But please, you're my mother. Please don't go see Halloween." Look. There's a lot of stuff, I don't really watch rom-coms. Honestly. But the difference is, and Tivis, I'm assuming there's breadcrumbs of your disdain throughout the internet, the interweb.
I turned around pretty quick.
If I could just finish the thought. What I'm saying is, I don't watch rom-coms, but I also, when someone's promoting a rom-com, I don't go crap on their post about rom-coms constantly. Like we've been getting this I don't know how to say it. The anger directed at Rob Zombie, the anger directed at the best guy in the world directing the movie. This would be like being mad that Steven Spielberg was going to direct Indiana Jones 6. Like, why would you be mad? But there's people who are detractors of Steven Spielberg. And to them, I would say, what have you done in your life that's as good as Jaws? Or more so, Schindler's List, which is perfect. Like, it's easy to sit there and be like, well, Steven Spielberg, he always goes for the... But make it, create it, do it. Be Steven Spielberg. Be the guy who's got all that stuff coming at him, but he can still make Schindler's List like while he's editing Jurassic Park. I couldn't do that. Why would someone think they could? I don't know.
I've been saying from the start, though, you got to give stuff a chance. How do you know if you like it or not? If you don't,
we're a reactionary world now, aren't we? It's everything is reactionary. The whole system was set up to like have checks and balances, and the pendulum swing. Nobody ever remembers that because they're reacting immediately as opposed to thinking, well, what does this really mean about anything?
Yeah.
So, Rob Zombie, he's going to ruin it. They're going to be hillbillies. Why? Why would the guy make them hillbillies? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I've been hearing that too, and I don't understand where it comes from.
I think it just comes from lack of understanding of the gifts that Rob has, which are extraordinary. More importantly, I think it's a lack of understanding about, a studio owns a thing, and this thing they own has value, and they don't just let someone ruin the value of the thing, right? There's checks and balances in that system too. Sometimes a movie will come out, like, let's say I use Poseidon as an example. Poseidon Adventure was about people overcoming a disaster. And the movie Poseidon, which is visually stunning, was about people doing anything that they could to survive a disaster. First movie was about them helping each other to move the escape. And the second movie was about helping yourself, except for like characters. Everybody else was just out for it. So through the studio system, somehow the thing got turned around, and it wasn't the same story as the other one, although it was a visually interesting movie. The Munsters is an ongoing product for Universal Studio. They don't just let anybody make the Munsters, and they don't let people who have the Munsters change it drastically, except for, let's take a moment to talk about Bryan Singer. And here's a top-notch studio director, top-notch producers, good a cast as you could have assembled anywhere, but they were so swayed by Bryan Singer's misunderstanding of what the Munsters meant, which was they're a great family who just looks different. He made them a horrible family who looks the same.
Yeah.
And I could see the pitch, and I could see them at, this is going to be the new, they thought it was the new Desperate Housewives, but, it didn't. It was like bending it to modern culture, which is not something that Rob Zombie would ever do.
And that's the 2012 like pilot. So, right.
13 Mockingbird Lane. Yeah.
Oddly, I was on the set of that. Isn't that weird? I was on the set of Here Come the Munsters. I was literally in Grandpa's lab, which was built on the Phantom of the Opera stage, which doesn't exist anymore at Universal. And I was shooting weeds across the road at Universal. And I always would, anytime I was at Universal, I'd walk by the Phantom of the Opera stage, and I'd walk up to the door and I'd see if it was open. Remember in It's a Wonderful Life, where he goes over to the thing and he goes, I wish I had $1 million. Hot dog! Like the thing would light up. And that's because the thing wouldn't always light up. So this thing was if it lit up. So that was me. Whenever I was at Universal Studios, I'd go to the Phantom stage. I put my hand on the door. If it turned so I could, actually it was a press down, so I could pull it. If it was like that, I was like, hot dog. And then I'd go in and I'd snoop around. And now it's,
that's awesome.
But I digress. I apologize.
Oh, no, you're fine.
No, this is what we were hoping for. Speaking of being for other Munster products,
the end of that story was the set of the lab was built on that soundstage. That's what I was talking about. That so Grandpa's lab was actually built on the soundstage of the Phantoms, because it was a soundstage. So one end had the Phantom of the Opera ornate stage, and the other end was just a soundstage. That's why I told that we're saying.
Well, we'll have to keep it close because we're going to end up watching that again. I saw it when it aired originally, and So a while ago.
I think it's difficult to find.
For which one?
A lot of this stuff is becoming difficult.
We're actually working our way through
especially with
all of the Munsters content at the moment. We're still on season 2 of the original series.
Oh, you do? I see. You watch an episode and then you talk about it.
Yeah. Well,
that's good.
For this original series right now, we're doing 2 episodes per podcast episode.
Oh, I got you.
And then we'll dive into the movies. And then we're eventually going to get into the Munsters today from the 80s. And I was actually curious, did you ever watch that series? Or
yeah, I've even auditioned for it to play some character. It'd be hard. I'm pretty good at remembering things. I do not remember the character for that because that would have been 36 years ago. But I watched it. That was the Arthur Company. I had done another show for another episode. That was right when I got into town. And the Arthur Company was kind of a lower budget company, remaking shows that Universal had the IP for. Again, the Munsters today, John Chuck, unassailable. Lee Merriweather, unassailable. The Howard Morton, who played Grandpa, terrific. Jason Marsden, who was Eddie, is a long time of mine. Here's can I go into a funny Jason Marsden story? It's a little silly. You guys probably don't know what Captain Actions are, but they were toys that we had where you'd get, like, in the late 60s, you get Action Boy, and then you could buy a Robin costume and you'd put it on Action Boy. And when they were making this TV movie about the making of Batman, Jason played Burt Ward in the TV movie. And I went to visit him over at the Raleigh Studio set where they built the Batcave. It was unbelievable. I just found a picture of the Batcave the other day, actually. He's standing on the set. And I was sitting up in Jason's dressing room, and the Robin costume was hanging in the closet. And we're bullying, just yapping. And I go, Jason, you remember those dolls we had when we were kids? And he goes, yeah. I go, I'll give you $500 if you let me put that Robin outfit on you. Not really. But I mean, that's really what I said, because it was all there. All the accessories, the shoes and the belt and the cape. Like you would have just been like dressing my Action Boy doll. Anyway, Jason, great actor, by the way. Busy voiceover actor, great guy. Good human. But every iteration of the Munsters has featured like the best person. I actually auditioned for the Munsters Christmas. I auditioned to be Herman. And, grateful that didn't work out. But, I was on the set. There's going to be great surprises by the time you air this on Monday. I have unearthed. I was actually on the set of Here Come the Munsters, and I have shared a picture of me and Herman in makeup. But I found I was literally there. It must have been the last night they were shooting, because I have a photo of them taking the cast photo. Like, it's ridiculous. Looking to see if there's one handy here. I have a lot of photographs here. There's so many things, you just never know what you're going to find. Oh, hi. How are you? Oh. That's awesome. I mean, this is just handy. There's a picture of that's the Munsters. But I'm digressing again. You have to keep me on track, boys.
Oh, no, you're fine.
I can't. I have mental problems. You got to ask me questions, or I'll just give you a flow of answers. You were saying something.
It's funny. Well, I was going to ask you about you auditioning for Herman, and I was curious, have you tried to bring back the Munsters between, that movie and,
I dreamed of it. Yeah.
Ignoring 13.
Let's say I dream of it because I do write and produce and create my own content. It was only ever a pipe dream, honestly. It really needed someone like Rob Zombie to get the thing kickstarted. And I understand there was maybe something else in the pipeline from somebody else. And a lot
of the Wayans brothers.
The Wayans brothers. Right? And then another guy wanted to make something. And then, I mean, Rob Zombie is probably the savior of the Munsters because, the way his brothers are funny. The other guy, I can't remember who he was. He's funny. They're all funny.
Yeah.
But being funny doesn't make the Munster.
The second that I heard that Rob Zombie was making a Munsters film, I was like 100% down for it, because I've seen his passion and like paying homage to the Munsters throughout his entire career, basically, in a lot of his art. So I was like, yes, give me this, please.
That's
ready
good.
for it.
Yeah, I mean, again, who else? Who else should it be? Him? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I gotta ask, as a fellow fan, what is your favorite episode of the Munsters?
What is my favorite episode? Hold on. It's too. My favorite episode.
All right,
Zombo.
here we go.
Who doesn't like Zombo? I'm gonna get it. It's hard to find Zombo stuff, but look, that's like a tiki bug.
Oh, that's nice.
I don't know. You'd end up giving yourself a concussion. I'd like to talk to the engineer who designed what could be, if it were a Matlock episode, the murder weapon. I don't really know how you drink that and remain conscious.
Yeah.
But I love Zombo. Why is Zombo great? Why not? Because it's the show where they show the world. Imagine in 1965, they're watching the Zombo episode and they're saying, look, this is all fake. Everything you're watching is fake. That's what they're telling the audience. It's makeup, and it's, the powder and the dust and making the cobwebs, and it's a set, and Zombo's house is crappy or crummy. That's what Eddie says. It's crummy. I just think it's a great episode. Louie Nye is great in it. I was so happy that Zombo came to do our movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was even more shocked when it came out that it's the same actor, right?
Zombo. I don't know what you mean.
Oh, that's fair. Maybe I misunderstood.
Zombo.
Is Zombo.
He's not crummy. He's a real monster guy. Yeah. Zombo. He's real. I know you're trying to get me to. I'm telling you, I was on the set one day. Zombo comes on the set, and I was like, "My God, Zombo is here!" And it was Zombo. He said his name was Zombo.
It's just Zombo Tivis.
I guess I got you.
How great is it that Uncle Gilbert's in the Munsters?
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Yes. I'm a big fan of every underwater creature, interracial creature. Yeah.
Hold on. You see?
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
I need to get one of those, awesome. But my wife would kick me out instantly.
It does take up a lot of space.
Yeah.
So that exists to deviate. That exists because three guys are nuts. John Fasano, God bless him, he passed away. Nick Gilbert, who is the Arizona Government, the number one creature authority in the world, and your friend Danny Roebuck. But if only we had a life-size creature. So Mark Alfrey commissioned him to make that. He was talking about wanting to make it. So at him all, like Gilbert has files and files and files of the most intricate details of the creature costume. So that's why the thing is perfect. It's Ben Chapman's height, the land creature's height, perfectly, exactly. It's as close as anybody's ever going to get to the Black Lagoon. And it's nice here. And they're around.
Yeah.
You can find, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, the inclusion of like Gilbert and all that, like they're Rob is pulling from so many characters that we've only seen like once or even just a couple minutes of, and that's what turned me around. Okay, we're going deep cuts here.
Yeah, I mean, right. when Lester's there and Uncle Gilbert and they weren't throwaway characters. That would be wrong to say, but they were not. There was an episode written about Uncle Gilbert at the end. Lester again comes in at the end. It's the joke at the end. Rob has. This is what I'm telling you. I don't think anybody else would have got even that stuff right.
Yeah.
No, I'm so excited.
The makeup on Lester looks almost identical to the show from what I saw.
Yeah. Look, the makeup artist Wayne Koth, who designed all this stuff, and our Hungarian makeup team has worked tirelessly and continues to work tirelessly. They are spectacular, a combination to be reckoned with. Just spectacular. Yeah. So yeah, it's great. And Tomas Boykin plays Lester, and he's terrific in the movie. Like just seeing that. One day we were on the set, and I was in my outfit, and Jeff was in his outfit, and Sherry was in her outfit, and Lester was his outfit, and I'm taking pictures, and I said, Rob, one of the few times, Rob, you realize this isn't what it was like to be on the set of House of Dracula. Like, that would have been Glenn Strange, Lon Chaney, John Garrity, all like made up. And, we have beautiful Cherry Moon, standing in for the female in House of Dracula, who I should be shot for not knowing her name right off the bat, but it'll come to me the minute we're done talking. I was almost at Elena Verdugo, but that's House of Frankenstein. Whatever the case, like, imagine that there was a time when you'd be at the Universal Commissary, and there'd be, these guys in the makeup that's sitting around talking, about stuff.
Yeah.
Magical. Like this experience, for my own personal journey as an actor and as a lover of this experience has been one of the most extraordinary things in my life. Like when I was a little boy, I was 11 when I was like, Mom, what? I need a tuxedo. What? I need a tuxedo with the things that go down in the back. And I need a cape. What? I need a Dracula cape with the thing that goes up in the back. So my grandmother made me the cape, and my mother went, and I don't know where you find a tuxedo for an 11-year-old, possibly mentally handicapped young man. But we put together, and, I was Dracula, because you could be, that's the one thing you figure out very early on. You're looking at famous monsters and you're like, I could be Frankenstein, but I need the mask and the hands. I could be the Wolfman, but I need the mask and the hands. I could be the creature on post masks, but I need the whole bodysuit. Unless you go as Uncle Gilbert, then you need a trench coat. But Dracula, all you needed, baby, was a tuxedo and like red. So then one day they make a movie called The Munsters, and I'm the Count. Who's the Count? Sam Dracula. I'm Dracula in a Universal Studios movie. In a Universal Studios. So when I say that, I then say God is good, because God is good. This all happened not because of my genius. Look at me. I look like the smartest person in the world. It happened because I tried hard and I stuck to it and I followed the path, and here I am. And so when people say, why this idiot, this guy, he shouldn't, how dare he, Rob only casts his friends, like all this weird stuff that people say on the internet, which, is heartbreaking for, I don't know who else you'd get to play these parts. Jeff Daniel Phillips, who else would you get to? He's perfect. Sherry, everyone will eat their hats. She's perfect. Me, okay, so maybe the world doesn't know that I used to dream of being Count Dracula or could never imagine being Grandpa Munster. But like, I played Jay Leno. I played Harry Marshall. I'm in Star Wars as the crowd. Like, why was it such a bad idea to cast us? Like, who else would you have wanted in the movie?
I think a lot of people are too like closed-minded when they think of actors. They're only thinking of like the mainstream ones that they see constantly in like Marvel movies or something like that. Unfortunately, when it comes to these big like things.
Yeah. Well, it's even when I scared Jeff a little because I asked him like, so how long did it take you to get the laugh down? And he kind of gave me a look. I'm like, no. I didn't mean it as, how is your Fred impression? I'm just, all these characters. I mean, the people who brought them to life originally, amazing people, can never forget them. But every person who's come after has brought their own, their own to the character, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And, I'm looking forward to seeing all of your, what you can bring to the characters, how you bring them to life, how you not only honor the original ones, but
this is like sitting around and wanting Kenneth Branagh to be first Hamlet, as good as the first Hamlet. That, by the way, who would know who he was? But Kenneth Branagh, what a great actor! Why can't he just do his Hamlet? So we could just talk about this forever. I don't want to beat the thing, but what people don't, even if I make a video about it, people still say something nasty on the thread. Look, we're not replacing anybody. When our movie comes out, the original show does not go poof and disappear from the face of the earth. And we don't you don't need to say, well, Daniel's not as funny as Al. Al, you had 60 years to watch Al. You had 2 hours to watch me. Maybe in 60 years, you think, you know what? In retrospect, he was as good as Al or as funny as Al. Look, I have two things to say, which I haven't really said publicly. I've inferred them. I knew Al a bit, and I knew Fred well, wellish. We didn't talk on the phone all the time, but that's just not how actors' lives are. But imagine I spent 2 months with Fred, 2 months where we did that disorganized crime movie, which people should see, like in Hamilton, Montana, away from the world. It was the greatest experience. And then I knew Al tangentially through Kevin Burns, and we spent time together. But Karen, Al's wife, said, here's exactly what Al would say. Yours now, run with it. That's what Al would say, which is what I would say to the next guy playing, Samson in The River's Edge. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you're the new version of it. So be great. And then Deb said, she reached out when she saw that I was cast. That's Deb Gwynn, Fred's wife. She said, this would make him so happy because he knew how much you loved him. Like, that's if it's good enough for Al and it's good enough for Fred, and I know that's their widow speaking on their behalf, wouldn't we think that each of their widows knew them better than anybody? You know what I mean? And Fred would never talk about the Munsters. Well, maybe he wouldn't talk about the Munsters with the guy he meets on the street, but you're another actor and you're talking about these kinds of things. He talked about it, So anyway,
that's awesome.
That's that.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. I'm glad that they reached out to you. That's really nice of them because, most people don't do that nowadays from the past.
Yeah. Well, Karen and I had been in touch. We had been in touch before that because, I wanted to check up on her there's a great site, on Facebook, there's a lot of sites. There's a Butch Patrick kind of sponsored Munsters fan page, which you guys might be on. And there's Al Lewis Forever Grandpa, which is a great website, which, and for your watchers, if they haven't read Karen's book, I Married a Munster, you should buy Karen Ingersoll's book. It's probably on Amazon. It's great. Yeah. It's all about her life with Al. It's an amazing book. I read it on the plane the first time we went to Budapest. I'm not playing Al Lewis. I'm playing Grandpa Munster. I was the first Grandpa Munster, and I'm the fifth guy to play
Yeah. And it's funny too, because I haven't seen so much backlash for any of the other Munster products in the past until this one. I'm like, guys,
is
really?
it because there was no internet? I don't know. Maybe it's because there was no internet.
Well, 2012 for the last iteration was, and they didn't really, you didn't see a whole lot anyways. There weren't headlines, of it everywhere.
I think maybe because they just didn't commit to them being the characters as we understood them.
Right.
Everybody can reinterpret something, but they reinterpreted part of it away.
Yeah.
That's I always try to be positive, but I never understood you would change the heart of and why. And I never understood why anybody would think Rob Zombie would change the heart of it. He's an artist. Yeah. If you watch the Dracula video, like he's not kicking the car. He's driving in it like he's so excited. Like, you know what I mean? And it's not, we know that he's in the Munster story. The point is, he just loves it. Just loves it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. I was going to ask, how did you prepare to be Grandpa for the new Munster movie? But it seems like you've been preparing your whole life. So
from 11 to 58.
Yeah.
So rarely does an actor have 47 years to create a character. But, I did.
That pumpkin behind you.
Thank you for asking. Amazing. People can find Ian's pumpkin carving on what is that called? Instagram. Ian's pumpkin carving. Ian's actually a friend of mine. He lives in Pennsylvania, where I'm from. So I not only get his great pumpkins, but I get to hang out with him sometimes when I'm home. Great guy. Other Munsters merchandise that's kind of fan made but fun. People can find if they go to I think it's Brent's Toys for Sale on Facebook. Brent's balls. These are very rare because there can't be a lot of them because everybody's working under crazy or people get crazy.
Yeah.
I do have these in conventions for a while until and there's other surprises coming. So a lot of fun stuff. And if people cool. I wish I had them here. I don't have them yet. We actually did I have it handy here. Hold on. They did a doll of this guy. Halloween 2. And I played a devil in Rob Zombie's Teenage Rock God video. There's a doll of the devil. They're all available. And they're fun dolls. And as a collector myself, like Myke, you or Tivis, you to a point, I like having action figures.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. I noticed here, you guys talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
I see that I have to plug myself in. I'll be right back. Don't go away.
Right. It's awesome. I hope everyone's enjoying Mr. Roebuck here. It's pretty cool to hear a lot of these stories, especially the fact that he got to talk and work with Fred and Alice, or Al, not Alice.
Alice. I mean, you coming from the film industry, it's got to be. You probably see some of the stuff that stuff behind the scenes and things.
Definitely.
That's
hey,
hey.
What's going on there? You guys are doing your little podcast.
That's an awesome skull. Is that how heavy is that?
It's foam filled.
Foam filled. Okay.
I'm also going to do. I found photos of my brother-in-law sculpted this. So, and he sculpted that Herman I showed you earlier. So, my brother-in-law is a very successful director of photography and a gaffer. He did all the Chris Nolan movies, all the Batman movies, and everything. But when he moved to Hollywood, he was a sculptor and he thought about becoming a makeup man. So I started sculpting this one, and then he felt bad for me, and he finished it. And then he did that one of Al. And when we showed it to Al, Al said, "Oh, this is my life cast." And, you know, Corey made it. Anyway, look, also, people should follow me online, Mr. Daniel Roebuck, I think on Facebook or on Instagram. I'm going to have some Here Come the Munsters magic up soon. And then I'll put up some pictures of Al with that sculpture. The head wasn't done yet. And it was great too, because we had, we sat down with Mike Westmark. Well, we did, Corey did. And Mike actually gave Corey like very specific, these masks are 25, 30 years old, 30 years probably, very specific tips about how they had to be painted and what to replicate those guys, their makeup. So,
okay. That's pretty cool.
So, will there be like 10 minutes of the film where you wearing a fake nose? Or that was a strange choice in the beginning of the series.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He had to, you know, I mean, there it is. Like, you know, even there's even something funny where there people go off and off about the makeup. The makeup evolved throughout the show. They even in the reality of the show weren't like, well, we can't take that nose off now because they've established it. You know, at some point Al was probably like, I don't need the nose. So they took the nose off. Not wearing it. And the nose, by the way, adds 45 minutes to an hour of your makeup time. Like the nose, you don't just go with the nose. It's got to be, you know, blended. And back then, those pieces probably think foam rubber.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the makeup is, my makeup's consistent, I think. I had two beautiful women named Rita apply it every day. But, you know, because we're in this COVID world, ask, and then they wear these space helmets, you know, and ending edges with space helmet. And I think, why? But we had to keep everybody safe. Which is an ongoing.
Yeah. I saw a thing where you were making your movie Hail Mary during COVID. And like you like said that you guys had 0 cases on set, which is actually really good because it's hard to get 0 on a set. Like
we had 0 cases in both. We made Lucky Louie as well. Yeah. I'd invite people to go to channelofpeace.org. Maybe you guys will put that please in description. Channelofpeace.org. We made two movies at the height of and had suffered no cases at all in 2 movies. And then I'm confused. How does Batman, you know, they're making Batman and Rob Pattinson gets COVID. And you think, how did you get COVID? How have you not protected Batman?
The main star of your movie.
But again, God is good. You know, these movies, when I make my own movies, you know, we do them on a very tight budget. We don't make them in 2 weeks. We make them, you know, in a normal schedule for a movie like that. But we wouldn't have any time to close down. And like on the Hail Mary, we had 25 young men who were our football players. And if one of them got it, you know, all the time, it would have been horrible. Yeah. But that's a lot to tolerate, you know, hoping and praying and waiting for that. But, you know, one day, just on the side note, we're picking up some shots, and one of the young men who's one of the boys in the movie that is one of the stars in the movie, he goes, boy, you must really have it in with Jesus. You know, we had no weather problems the entire movie. I said, well, you know, I did name it after his mother. So that worked out. Yeah, we had one day, if you're a movie guy, one scene called for rain. I swear to you on put a Bible, shooting, and it starts raining. And I said, let's shoot that scene right now. And we shot the scene. And, you know, it was like, you know, we got our angles, cut, poof, the rain stopped. Like it stopped.
It saves on the water effects and everything like that. Yeah. So
well, and we were ready, you know, we were going to hose it like you do, but you know, proved unnecessary.
That's awesome.
People should see the first movie I made, Getting Grace. I co-wrote that with Jeff Lewis and directed it. And it's on Amazon Prime or Apple TV or whatever. But there's a whole sequence of that story that takes place in rain, and there's a huge scene, like a big scene where the girls in the rain, screaming. It's a big movie scene. And one of the Q&A, someone said, "Did it just rain that day?" Or no, we plan well in advance. But anyway,
that's pretty cool.
This is what I do. So I make these movies that I make are, let's say, a modern version of the Munsters or the Andy Griffith Show. Mm-hmm. They have a component of faith because I think that is important. I think it's important, but they're not like, they don't. Yeah. The Munsters made very good points about. I mean, people keep running, that whole thing about Herman saying it doesn't matter if you're, you're tall or short or big or green or yellow or red or whatever.
We actually play that at the end of every episode of our show, just so people hear it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So then your readers or your listeners have seen it. So you don't. It's you could just. You have to show morality and ethics. You don't have to demand it. That's what I do but whatever. I play a rotten character on Criminal Minds, or I play a guy in River's Edge. It doesn't really matter. I'm just an actor, but making my own stuff when it comes from our not-for-profit.
How is it fun? Is it really fun? Because I've made movies and stuff, like short films and stuff like that with my kids. I was
going to say, because I haven't gotten all yet.
No. Just little short films with my kids, actually. And throughout college and stuff, we made a bunch of short films with the college and all that with the kids. And it was just really fun to make it with my family. I know you get to do that now with your daughter.
I do. And my
wife. Yeah.
And sometimes my son and sometimes my son-in-law to be, it's joyful. As you know, it's joyful. And my daughter, like nobody's smarter than me. I've actually, they may not hire me to direct a movie because of how things are, how Hollywood is now. Let's say, like me, isn't the first choice to direct something. My daughter, I've built a director who will always hire. I hope.
It's always fun to do projects with the families. Like I've worked on several films and documentaries and stuff throughout the course of the last 10 years. And I've just found the best ones for me are everything I do with my kids.
That's nice.
So it's tough.
Nice. But then it's funny when you get some other kid and you're like, look, just do what I'm telling you. You can't direct them like you would your own daughter. Or son. Yeah. My daughter, on the way to the set, the first day of Lucky Louie that we co-wrote, right? He goes, so I'm curious, we both wrote it, we're both directing it. If we disagree on a thing, who wins? And I said, I win. Why are we having this discussion? One of us is an adult. One of us has directed movies before. One of us has been in 150 movies and 100 TV or 400 TV shows. So the one of us with the experience is going to decide what we're going to do.
Yeah.
That's just.
I actually just realized that you were in a Star Trek Next Generation as a Romulan, and I love Star Trek. So
I just had someone was over here. I'm doing a project and I need a fake mustache. It was Variety, and they were measuring me, and the girl was a huge Next Generation fan. I actually have my suit from Next Generation.
Oh, nice.
Up on, we bought it. But that was a good time. But it wasn't just like being on Next Generation. It was like being on Next Generation with Spock. Like standing next to Leonard Nimoy for 2 weeks. Pretty great. Here's a great story if you like Star Trek. One day we're in these cubicle trailers, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where I am. Leonard Nimoy had a trailer, but his front door was right across from my front door. I was in there reading a book, and voice, and I opened my door, and there's DeForest Kelley standing there talking to Leonard Nimoy. And where they shoot Next Generation was the same stage they shot Star Trek. So they built the Enterprise and everything. It's in the same place it was. And I thought, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? So after a minute, I was, I got my book and I opened the door like, oh, hi. And then, I got to meet him. Hello. And I said, what a fan. Do you guys mind if I sit here and read? It's so stuffy in there. No. So you think I really read? No, I listened to their entire conversation.
Nice.
Like you got Bones and Spock, and Spock's in makeup.
Yeah.
And, Bones is, I guess, in makeup too, because he looks like a bone,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. I love Star Trek. And actually, when we started doing the Munsters podcast, we actually talked about this over a year before we even heard about, the Rob Zombie film coming out, your guys' film. So we were like extra excited to make sure that we were able to talk about that film too. Good. And so when we get to I think it comes out in the fall or sometime like that. They haven't announced.
Says, 2022 this year.
Yeah. This year.
Sometime this year. Yeah. When this year? No.
We suspect the fall, but this year officially.
Yes. Yeah. Do you know how with we've talked on the show before about the possible future of the Munsters after this film comes out, like if it will spark a new generation of fans and stuff like that. I guess I shouldn't say do you know, I said what do you think you would like to see?
Look, the answer is would I happily step back into Grandpa? Yes.
Okay.
Of course, we don't let's not pretend we're negotiating. Well,
right.
That's actors negotiating. Well, we'll see what the script is, whatever. No, of course, I'd be Grandpa the rest of my life. If that's what was necessary. But I don't know what the future is. All I know is if I've learned one thing, it's like to appreciate what is right here, right in front of me, and this is right here and right in front of me. So I appreciate it, and don't the actor's life. You really do kind of get over. You got to imagine. I've been doing this 40 years, almost 40 years in Hollywood, but probably really 50 years when we start counting the circus clown. That was the first time they paid me to perform. So it's a long time. So you learn that you don't always know what's next. And you adopt that kind of lifestyle. When I mentor other actors, I try to say, so this is the best part of our job. You don't know what's next. The worst part of our job is you don't know what's next. So save your money. Because sometimes you don't know what's not next.
Yeah. I'm curious, of all these shows that are kind of have come back recently, we got Lost in Space on Netflix. Is there one that they haven't done that you would like to see? Because Myke and I were talking, and we were thinking Gilligan's Island would be cool to bring back eventually.
Done it. I should get ready. Come on, little buddy. Or no, I guess at my age, I'd be like, lovey. I'd be Thurston Howell, I suppose. So, I mean, it's fun to do these things. I did a couple of TV movies. Well, I guess the first is Late Show, moment in time in TV. But I did that one where I played Gary Marshall was about making of Mork and Mindy. And I did another one where I played the guy nowhere near as famous or interesting as Gary Marshall, who brought Three's Company to the United States. So they were making these movies, and then it was Back to the Batcave, the one that Jason Marsden was on, when I went to that. This, they keep trying to bring this stuff up in some methodology or another. I don't know. I personally would like to, have Matlock come back and have a shot to be the guy solving crime. Who else? Yeah. But they'll like Matlock, starring George Clooney. So Gilligan's Island, that sounds like it'd be fun.
Yeah.
Wasn't the Brady Bunch movie great? How they did that, with all this, No, who knows? Who knows?
We
This is a good idea, but nothing comes to mind.
Yeah. We actually talked about the Brady Bunch, the two movies that went together, and how it was cool because they did it in like a current situation, but the family was still living like in the show reality almost. So it was like campy to a point where everyone was in on the joke basically, except for the family. So
except for the family. Yeah, I kind of remember that, but it was, that was all about, that wouldn't have worked if it wasn't for the performer.
Right.
And it was a good director, same lady who directed Late Shift, director.
Yeah. I think those movies even tied into Gilligan's Island too. I think they were like trying to say,
yeah, they did, because it was that was her original husband went away for a 3-hour tour and never came back.
Sherwood Schwartz created both shows, so that's a good inside joke.
It's awesome.
In the movie about the making of Three's Company, I found out my guy had worked on the Munsters at one point earlier in his career. I was playing, and we did a oneer. You know what a oneer means? It means there's no cover. You cut it out. We did a oneer where I'm kind of telling the guy who played Mr. Roper why he's not coming back to the show. But I was like you're at a craft service table, and I was like, something like this happened on the Munsters. And the producer goes, "Who told you could say?" He was so mad because they didn't clear it. They didn't clear the information, and there was no way to cut it out of the shot. But I had worked for him before, and I'd worked with him, of course, since. But he was just like, "Are you crazy? You can't do stuff." It went by so fast. I don't think anyone ever.
Yeah. That's awesome. We love Munsters references throughout anything. Like George, we talked about George Lopez did an awesome skit for it.
It was a great little.
It was really cool.
And of course, the shock jock Howard Stern, big fan of the Munsters. Big fan of it. So he's always doing it. The Munsters have been parodied and whatnot, and that just says a lot about the quality of the show. I think this about, like, there's no denying that the main cast of the main actors was the perfect group of people in lightning in a bottle situation, because all these other iterations exist. I've got a big, you can't see a wax figure of Roddy McDowall here in Planet of the Apes. And if it wasn't for Roddy McDowall, like Kim Hunter was great, they were all great. But Roddy McDowall was the consistent voice of 4 of those 5 movies. Mm-hmm. And if Roddy McDowall wasn't so great in Planet of the Apes, it wouldn't have been all those movies, I feel. And it wouldn't be the new 4 movies of Planet of the Apes that are out. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, if it wasn't for that actor, these wouldn't exist, because this thing would have been forgotten at some point. Lost in Space the same way. Great group of actors. That movie, remember they made a movie, and the movie was a little, that was hard to watch. I remember it took a couple tries to get through, but they were all the greatest actors in the world. But then that newer one that Kevin Burns executive produced, that Netflix one, was out of this world. Well, I guess but it was terrific.
Yeah. It's interesting though, because it's like they took the original series and then the Matt LeBlanc is what I call it, movie, Matt LeBlanc, and like mixed it together and you got like what we have, like at least with the technology and stuff like that in the new series. So, and then they did something, ingeniously switching Dr. Smith to a woman. Mm-hmm. The way they did it too was really, really good for storytelling. So, which was awesome, because I don't know if you guys have both seen it all the way or not.
I have not seen it all the way from beginning to end, but I did like it, and I thought it looked gorgeous. Okay, that was a great thing about knowing Kevin Burns. Like, I'd see that, go to his house on Saturday morning, and we'd have our bowls of cereal, and I would bring cereal. He hated fruit in cereal, so it had to be like Captain Crunch or something specific. Mm-hmm. And we'd eat cereal, and we'd eat Pop-Tarts. We'd watch whatever he made, or he'd find, like Fred Gwynn on the Danny Kaye show, or Fred Gwynn on something, or, we'd see stuff that no one had ever seen. Kevin was such he was so good at finding stuff. So many years ago, the very first time I saw the color 16 millimeter footage from the Son of Frankenstein, like that has made its way around the internet for 30 years, was on my wall. He came over, he goes, he brought the projector, he brought the film, he goes, shut up and sit down. And like, we saw it before it was anywhere, because he got it from Sarah, I guess. And we were like, he could find, that's the Munsters at Marineland.
Yeah.
He's the one who unearthed that.
Mhm.
It exists now.
Nice.
He searched for it for a long time.
Yeah, it's getting harder. It's getting harder and harder to find it. Like even the Munsters today, to find that right now is so hard.
Yeah, I think that it might, Universal might smell $1 and decide to put it out. As a collector, very hard to find Munsters today stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I did.
I know there's a big following over in the UK for it, and I think they're trying to bring it back to TV
UK and
over
Scotland.
there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Louie, again, fun.
Yeah.
They're all fun.
Yeah. I do have to tell you, we recently watched How My Dad Killed Dracula.
Oh, thank you.
And I think I'm making that like one of our Halloween specials for the kids and stuff, because it's awesome.
Well, you mean on like a podcast?
No, for my household, for my kids to watch with me
fun.
every year. Like we do Hocus Pocus and stuff. So
the director of that's a great guy. You should talk to him one day on one of these things.
Okay.
Such a great guy. I met him as an actor, and when he pitched it to me, and I was like, well, that's, and then he said it was real. And I was like, wait, what? And then I got to hang out with all the guys. Do you have Dr. Shocker's Vault of Horror?
I probably do. Yeah. I know what that is.
I made that has that on. It actually has the making of it on.
Okay. I'll have to check my DVD.
You should look through your stuff. If you don't have it, just let me know. But the Dr. Shocker's Vault of Horror was kind of our next step after Halloween Happy Haunting of America that we made many years ago.
Oh, nice.
So, I've been in this genre for so long as a fan and as a filmmaker and a creator.
Yeah.
I mentioned to my buddy that, we had the opportunity to talk to you, and he immediately told me I had to ask you about working with Dennis Hopper and River's Edge. So
What's
if I don't,
name?
he'll be mad. It's Rick. Rick Cross. He's an author. He writes for NASA and stuff like that. So, real good guy.
So he writes for NASA. His writing is out of this world. That's a joke I just made up on the spot. Rick Cross, here's the answer for you. Dennis Hopper. Rick, are you paying attention? Dennis Hopper was, imagine me, 21 years old on a set. It's me and Dennis. Like, perfect. I think Dennis was like, hey, Danny, how about we keep just 21 questions about Apocalypse Now a day, so we can, because I would follow him around and ask him about it now. But he was terrific. It's funny to know that when Dennis Hopper walked on the set, we always thought of him. He was like Gandalf. He was like a grand old man on the set. He was amazing, but he was also 5 years younger than I am right now, like on our set. And I thought he was so old. But he's like, I want you to understand that he was 54, and what a great man, great American. He went through a lot in his life when he was sober, like work he did, fantastic.
Awesome.
And when he was not sober, the work he did was pretty entertaining too. Watch Dennis Hopper in Giant, like He's the real deal.
Yeah. All right. I have one last Munsters movie question because I just have to know.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't want to monopolize all your time today. We know you're busy.
How awesome was it to recreate the opening of Munsters season 2, man?
It was great.
Yeah.
It was great. Isn't it? And isn't it funny that people are even complaining about that?
Yeah.
Like their acting is terrible. What are you, some kind of super genius acting guru? Are you Stanislavski reborn? What did you see from anything on that? It was great. And again, back to the attention to detail. We didn't just come through the door. We came through the exact same. The cutout was exactly the same. It was, if you watch that opening, there's a piece of wood in one thing, and then it's not there in the next shot. That was put in and removed. I mean, it was great. We loved doing it. You could see it. We did it very late one night, and it was chilly out. You can see our breath because it wasn't on the soundstage like it was shot, for real. It was, on our location set. Reproduction of the Munster. So, and of course we watched it. I don't know. I just don't understand. If we didn't do that, people would say, who do they think they are to not do it? And we did do it. And people say, who do they think they are to do it? And I think they're the same people. Like, I think that their malice is just comes out. I'm sure Rob's been, he's been dealing with this with his years. It's a little shocking to me, the malice with which people.
Actually, I had a discussion with someone on Twitter about this because people just seem to complain. And I'm like, most of the people that seem to complain don't actually seem like they're Munsters fans. They're just like those generic people that always complain about every product. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's it. And, if we haven't evolved as a society where we don't burn the book before we read it, don't know what to say about us, don't know how much longer we're going to have. If you see the movie and you don't like it, you never have to see it again. You just watch the Munsters. But you'll come and you'll say, this was terrible now. It's going to be terrible. It's made by a great artist and by a group of actors who would do anything to please the material. That's our job. My job is to please the director and please the material and to create a thing from a perspective that I was asked to bring to it. I was not randomly cast in the Munsters. We were cast years before it was made, years. So, I had a lot of time to think about it. So I think I did a good job of what I think. My grandpa is different because I'm not Al Lewis. Yeah. And by the way, I bring 40 years of experience to the role. And Al, he didn't have 40 years. He was still perfect. You know what I mean? So I've, if I can't time a joke as well as Al Lewis after 40 years, I'm an idiot. And maybe we'll say, you are an idiot. You can never do it.
I think people also forget too, like Al and Fred worked on, was it Car 54 or whatever beforehand? So they had the chemistry too.
They were friends. And Jeff and I have known each other for many years. But look, you build the show's chemistry. You watch the first 9 episodes of the Andy Griffith Show. Andy Griffith says literally, it wasn't until about the 9th or 10th episode that I realized I was the straight man. And that's, so it took him where he's like, well, I'll tell you, cousin Barney, let's go see. There's no, you got to find your feet, find your voice. And, if who knows, you just get better with time. And the more you live inside the character, the better you get, So if we have another opportunity to live inside it, let's see. I think it'll even be more fun. But I can tell you it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a movie for now. The other thing, people, I guess, maybe this is a good closer, but I'm a nostalgist. I made that term up, by the way. If any of you try to use it, I'll sue you. take you down, buddy.
We're gonna put on a shirt now.
Yeah, I'm putting on a shirt. I'm a nostalgist, but I live in a modern world, and that's why the iterations of the Munsters has changed, because they're in a modern world. Anybody who saw the Munsters Scary Christmas, I always try to be positive, but there is innuendo in there. He's got it on the shelf that is a little it's modern. There's like the elves are kind of horny. I don't know how else to say it or whatever. It's a little weird to me. And not, but the world's changing. So you aren't going to have, people like it says now in living color, and everyone said, I want the black and white Munsters. Well, have you watched the movies? You're trying to make a movie for
Yeah.
Yeah. Studios going to let you make a black and white movie, like a whole black and white movie. Unless Willem Dafoe's in it, they're not going to let you do it. You know what I mean? Young Frankenstein was in black and white. In 1974, it was in black and white.
We haven't had a black and white Munsters content though since their first movie, so it's
since the first show, not even their first movie.
Well, even that,
their first movie was in color.
That was
because even in 1965, someone said, "Oh, it's got to be in color," or the kids aren't going to go see it.
Yeah,
it was one thing to see something on your TV. Again, I want to explain. People forget this kind of thing. It's black and white. Why the people say it was makeup, this, that. There's a lot of theories. Well, the makeup may have had a modicum to do with it. It was cheaper. That's probably what the biggest thing was. It wasn't like somebody said it'll be more like Universal Monster movies if it was black and white. I promise you, all the decisions were made over money. Okay, but in 1964, most people had black and white televisions, so they did not have colored. Most people, like most people. So what was they made it black and white because in 1964 it didn't matter. When it went to the movie theater, most people went to see color movies, so they made a color movie.
Yeah,
that's just how it is. Anyway, let's talk about positive stuff. Here's what's great.
Yeah, man.
You guys are fans, and anybody watching this is a fan. Rest assured, the people making the Munsters movie are fans. But I don't need to be an apologist. I should be a celebrator. I'm a little put off that I have to speak to these things because they're unnecessary. If you don't like the movie, don't say it. And by the way, it's going to be your opinion, and the guy next to you might love it. So you don't even have to go online and tell us your opinion, because nobody cares. Just if you don't like it, go see whatever you want to see. Go see Jurassic Park 9. I don't care. But what we're doing to the best of our ability. I shouldn't have to say that. I should not. People should know nobody makes something bad on.
Yeah. I do want to point out one thing that you had said on like a Facebook Live, I believe it was not long ago, that quote unquote Mr. Zombie, because you like to call him Mr. Zombie, is creating
he likes that too.
Well, then I'll start calling him that. But he's creating things that are original that we haven't really seen before. And yet people are always criticizing everything he does. It's like, well, you guys are always criticizing we don't have originality, yet you then criticize everything that's original. So that's the one thing I've always looked at with directors like Mr. Zombie or, any of the other art house directors that people want to call them. It's like you guys don't want the originality because you're not actually seeking it out. You're just watching the next Marvel movie or, whatever's coming out as a blockbuster.
Yeah. That's those movies may not be for me, but I could appreciate how creative the guy is. I'm ecstatic when people can enjoy things, even when I can't.
I mean, this is art. We're talking about art.
More power.
I'm sorry, interrupted. Say the last thing you said.
No. That's fine. I was just basically that.
It's all subjective. I mean, so it's again odd that I'm having these conversations. I've never had these conversations about any movie I've ever been in before it came out. Any other thing I've ever been in, and I've been in a lot of movies. People see the movie and then they have an opinion. This one garners opinions. He put out this brilliant poster today. I haven't even looked. I'm sure there's 900 comments. about why the poster's bad, and the poster's great.
Yeah.
Oh, great!
So
I'm gonna give it to my wall.
People are just gonna be like, "Oh, it's too green. It's too colorful. It's too blah blah blah." Yeah. So there's always gonna be something. Somebody like I've learned from a long time of watching, especially critics and crap on YouTube. Just I don't even pay attention to what half the people say anymore.
Yeah, I think I'm going to start doing reaction videos to their reaction videos. I don't know if anybody's ever done that, but they say just dumb stuff.
That sounds like something Ryan Reynolds would do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it just seems like it's so silly. I think it was Ryan Reynolds. I follow online Hugh Jackman. Very great entertainer. I was very, 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 God is good, because I was at the very first performance of Music Man on Broadway, which was postponed like 700 times. And then I ended up being adjacent to Manhattan. And then my friend Liz Island, went there so often, they felt pity on her and they gave her the last 2 tickets. And so I was there, and so I like him. So I follow him because I think he's a terrific entertainer. I think he's a very good human being. And I guess picture. I think it was Ryan Reynolds came to see the play, and he gave him a picture of Ryan Reynolds himself, like doing some dance move, and said, "Good luck with your little play." Ryan Reynolds must be very funny. Good luck with your little play.
Yeah. Those two are always funny, watching them do their back and forths. It's always funny.
It's great.
Anyways,
I have one last thing to bring up. Not bring up, but just to say, because I thought it was smart from a thing that I saw you did. It was like a video, I believe it was on your guys' website, discussing what the production company does and everything like that. And you said, what's that?
A channel's piece, you mean?
Yeah. And you said only an idiot or a snob think the best actors are in Hollywood. And I agree 100% with that, because seeing the talent that you bring in for your films, because you guys say that you guys take a lot of local talent and stuff. And it's really cool to see that you give the opportunity like that too, for sure.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I bring in ringers because I'm not an idiot. But again, look, I work with the same people all the time. Why? Because I don't have to explain things. Rob Zombie doesn't have to explain things to me. You know what I mean? There's a shorthand. That's why directors work with the same actors. But when people see, if you go see Getting Grace, go find Getting Grace. I literally took the star of the movie out of high school, out of my high school, as a matter of fact. Bethlehem Catholic. I took her out of high school and I put her as a star of a movie. And she's amazing. And then she went to college. And then 4 years later, she literally came home from college. And the next day, she was starring in another movie, because she's terrific. And I discovered her and I found her, and she's amazing. Awesome. And in this new one, the Hail Mary, I have all these marvelous young men and young women who are terrific actors.
Yeah,
that would never have had the chance. Like, I had to go to Hollywood to figure out how to do it, but. Like, these kids are so well, they do so well that, I'm like, you should come to Hollywood, try to do it here, Yeah. So thank you for that. I think it's a great purpose for myself and my wife, my daughter, my family, the people who do this with me. I think it gives us great joy to give opportunity, free of any kind of, I don't know, like I just let someone come in the room as a director and entertain me. I don't have to think about if they entertain me, they entertain me,
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, I just want to say, I really, as an indie guy myself, I really appreciate you giving back like that and giving opportunities and stuff. Cause I even heard people get to actually learn on your set. Whereas I've been on bigger Hollywood sets and it's just you try and learn anything outside of your area, they're just no, we're not doing that today.
Oh no, we take interns and we move them around on purpose. And by the way, sometimes they find they have an affinity for something they didn't know they would have an affinity for. That's amazing. And sometimes, when that happens, then moving them again, the camera crew will be my DP will go, I need him. You can't take him. I need him. Because He realizes the kid, snaps into male, female, whatever. They get it.
Yeah.
So you want them next to you. Oh yeah, I'm so proud. One of the guys who worked on our first movie just graduated from the American Film Institute. Like that's the top. Like he went from our movie, worked under Corey Garriak, who was the DP of that, my brother-in-law, who sculpted that. Like this guy will be working in Hollywood for the rest of his life. And maybe we showed him. I think he's the guy. Here's my last story. So I called him and I said, I think it was Ryan. He goes, I say, I understand you want to work on the movie, and you went to my high school. I said, I'd love to have you. He said, well, I work here at the Denny's Perkins, whatever the heck it was, Denny's Perkins. Let's say Denny's. I work at Denny's, and I don't think I can get off. And I said, you can't get off your job at Denny's to work on my movie? He goes, no, I don't think I could. I said, do you have a piece of paper or something handy? He goes, hold on. Yeah. Do you have a pen? Make sure it's one that works. You got to have one that works. Because here it is. Yeah. I go, okay, write this down. Write this. Are you ready? And he goes, yes, Mr. Roebuck. I go, write down. Right. Quit. Good. Okay. Get into Denny's and hand that to them and then come to my movie. I think that's what he did.
That's awesome.
You're going to work at Denny's when you work on a movie? I love that. Please don't write letters. I love Denny's. I love the food. We're talking about a young person who had an opportunity that was going to come along one time in his life.
Yeah.
And without that opportunity, he might not get to the next step. And that's the key to it. Life is about recognizing the opportunities God puts in front of you and using them to move forward. He does that. He does not give you instant fame. Anybody who seems instantly famous is not instantly famous. They did something. Does everybody deserve the fame they get? No. Everybody deserves a chance to not ruin their life. So they're given, we don't judge what anybody else gets. We only think about our own path and do what we feel is right. Good.
Yeah. Yeah. I 100% agree with that. And I love that sentiment, like that message that you send and everything like that. Like I've told people, I was like, look at James Gunn. He started at Trauma, writing crappy scripts for, Lloyd. And he's like now a big Marvel guy and DC guy and everything. So
the Russo brothers started the Russo. You ever see the Russo brothers movie Chuck and Buck?
Yeah.
Like it's so weird and hard to watch. You can see that they were great filmmakers because they had courage to make such a weird. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps. It's the weirdest story. Chuck and Buck, look it up. I think it was the first movie technically made on digital media that got a national release.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that would have been like late 90s, like awesome. Before Star Wars thing, maybe. All right.
Well,
this has been a blast. We're so happy you can come on here and talk to us.
Everyone's ear off, but thank you for being friends of the Munsters. I have a very busy day. I've got to play with he's an action figure. He's not a toy.
You got to tell Universal to get on making you guys action figures to be like widespread everywhere.
Yes, I believe good things are going to happen with that. I look forward to any announcement they make of what's coming out. On pins and needles. And as a toy collector, I don't know. I look at my toy room and I think, make room.
That's how I was last night. I was like, I don't know where to put this next doll or toy or figure, anything. I'm like, I'm lost.
Yeah, well, you know what you do? You say to your kids, remember I said you can't play with these? You can play with this one.
Yeah.
You take one that you don't like, you give it, and you move everything over, and then you put the Dan Roebuck toy right. Okay.
Definitely.
God bless everybody. Thank you for your interest in my stories, and thank you for supporting this movie, which I know is going to entertain so many people.
Yes, thank you very much.
And be sure to go check out channelapiece.org and see the other projects that Danny's working on. Sure.
Yeah.
I've lost for what to say.
And I'll make sure
it's been so fun.
I'll make sure to put all your links and stuff in our descriptions and everywhere we post this too.
And I'll be around. I'm going to be at Days of the Dead in 2 weeks, I think. Midsummer Scream here in LA the next weekend, and I'll be at many conventions over the next few months. So please come visit me and say hello. Say you saw me here on this show, and
Awesome.
That'll make me happy.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
And
Tivis.
well, I was gonna say we'd love to hear from you again when the movie comes out, and you can talk a bit more about it.
You're welcome to find me. Yes, perfect.
Awesome. Thank you,
thanks,
man.
guys.
Awesome.
All right,
Have a
have a
good
great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh.
Oh, that was
Awesome. Awesome, man. That was awesome, dude. Like, I enjoyed discussing that with him. Everything.
Yeah, that was so much fun.
I don't know much else to say to everybody out there right now because, I mean, we've said a lot of it. I don't know how well my audio is going to turn out for this episode, seeing that it crashed the first 5 minutes of the interview. So I apologize, everybody. But Tivis, do you got any words to say about what you thought about what he said and everything since we're here?
He hit on a lot of good points that we've been saying, give the movie a chance, stop, it's okay to be a little cautious. I know we all have things that we really love and don't want to see changed, but sometimes that change can be for the better. Change is scary, but sometimes it's
definitely.
Needed.
And definitely do check out his other works, because this guy, everything I brought up, outside of the Munsters, I know I really wasn't talking a whole lot. Of course, we're not really supposed to talk, but I wasn't like asking as much about the Munster stuff because I left that to Tivis as I did more of the outside film stuff. If you guys want to know more about this, definitely check out the links in our description. Follow Mr. Roebuck on Facebook and Instagram. I don't believe he said he's on Twitter, but if he is, you can go and find him on Twitter as well at Dan Roebuck.
He has a Twitter, but he hasn't used it in years.
But follow it anyways. Maybe that'll get him to start using it more. Who knows? Just check out his content, man, and check out his other movies. Again, I'm going to try and put all those links in the description as well to each individual movie that's released anyways. And I believe he said they're on Amazon. So, yeah. Tivis, any last words before we get out of here, man?
This is possibly the most fun I've ever had recording the show.
Awesome.
I will be honest.
All right.
I love the show and you're an awesome guy, but just listening to those stories, that was definitely so much fun.
I agree. Hopefully we can get some more guests on. And like we said, everybody, if you guys know anybody who has worked on any Munsters content, let us know.
I need to know if that fire was real or not. I'm not going to let this go.
Wants to ask Butch or Pat. Well, I don't know if Pat was on the set then, but
I don't think Butch was either, but just anyone.
So, yes, thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in, and definitely go check out Mr. Roebuck and check out The Munsters, Rob Zombies The Munsters when it comes to theaters, hopefully in the fall. With that said, guys, we will catch you next time as we take another stroll down 1313 Mockingbird Lane.
The lesson I want you to learn is it doesn't matter what you look like. You can be tall or short, or fat or thin, or ugly, or handsome, like your father. Or you can be black or yellow or white. It doesn't matter. What does matter is the size of your heart and the strength of your character.